Welcome to Free to Cook. In this episode we're going to be cooking Dino beef ribs on the kettle barbecue. Beef ribs are one of those amazing cuts that are packed full of flavour and are tender and juicy when cooked right. Also in this video, I'm going to answer one of the most common questions I get. How do you light and set up your barbecue for a low and slow cook? Personally, I like to use the snake method when doing low and slow cooks on the kettle barbecue. So start by laying out a line of charcoal along the edge of the barbecue. By lining the edge of the barbecue with the charcoal, it'll slowly light itself. Make sure the charcoal sits together well and has enough space for the air to flow through the charcoal. I'm using Clean Heat charcoal. It burns nice and hot and for a really long time. Next, place pieces of wood chips along the snake. As the charcoal slowly self-lights, the wood chips will begin to smoke. Now to lighting the charcoal. Using a chimney is by far the easiest and quickest way to light charcoal. For the snake method, we're only going to need to light 3 to 4 pieces of charcoal. You can use a lighter brick like I'm using, or newspaper, but I find newspaper leaves soot inside the barbecue. Light and place under the chimney. The flame from the lighter will be drawn up the chimney and light the charcoal. After about 10 minutes, the charcoal should be nicely lit. Pour the charcoal into the center of the barbecue and using an old pair of barbecue tongs, move the lit charcoal to the start of the snake. You could simply pour the charcoal onto the start of the snake, but I find this gets a bit messy. Place the grate on your barbecue and make sure to always have a temperature gauge in your barbecue to monitor the heat. Now we're going to prep the ribs. We're going to use an extremely simple rub. In a small bowl, add equal amounts of salt and freshly cracked black pepper. I'm using G-Fresh's great range of dried herbs and spices. Mix the salt and pepper together. Now we need to coat our ribs with the rub. These are nice thick Dino beef ribs. This recipe will also work perfectly for normal cuts of beef ribs. Coat the ribs in your salt and pepper rub. Once the top of the ribs are fully coated, turn them over. I like to score the membrane on the bottom of the ribs. This will stop the ribs from folding up while cooking. Make sure to coat all sides of the ribs. These are ready to hit the barbecue. The barbecue needs to be sitting around a temperature of 250 Fahrenheit or 120 Celsius. Place the thickest end of the ribs towards the lit charcoal. Cover with the lid and let it cook for 2 hours. The charcoal will slowly start to light around the edge, giving you a consistent temperature throughout the cook. After 2 hours, turn the ribs around so the thicker edge is facing the main body of the heat. Cook for another 2 hours. These beef ribs should take about 4 hours to cook. When the ribs are nice and tender, they're ready to go. Lay out sheets of foil. These ribs are looking amazing. Take the ribs off the barbecue using a tea towel so you don't destroy that beautiful bark and in turn burn your hands. Wrap the ribs and let them rest for at least half an hour to an hour. Once they've been rested, it's time to slice them up. Slice down the middle of the bones. There you have it, Dino beef ribs cooked low and slow on the kettle barbecue using the snake method. These ribs are tender and juicy, plus they're packed full of flavour. The snake method can be used for any low and slow cook. If you found this recipe helpful, don't forget to share it, subscribe to the channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and if you have any recipe suggestions, leave them in the comments.